Well, with Christmas now over, it's back to FM21, and as we approach the new year, it's time for a new season at Borehamwood. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 15 of One Team, One Dream, Into the Woods. My name is James, and on today's episode, we're going to have back-to-back home games. First is the first game of the season, home against Fylde. I'm then going to play the Altrincham game offline, followed by our first derby of the season at home against Sutton. So since you were last with me, I haven't done much since the end of the transfer window on the previous episode. If you want a full rundown of what happened during the summer, I'd recommend you go back and watch the previous two episodes before jumping onto this one. But for those who just want a quick roundup of the ins and outs, if we go into the transfers. So the summer started with Iqbal Mundal, Daniel, I'm never going to be able to pronounce his surname, and Robson coming in. That was just before the end of the season. And Murtag also left to go to Welling. We also had Ashmore leave for £15,000 after he's causing a few issues at the club. I couldn't keep him at the club. He was causing too many problems in team meetings. He had too much of an attitude problem, and he was also starting to get a little bit. He was starting to get upset that he wasn't necessarily going to be the first string goalkeeper this season. So I felt it was only right to move him on, give him an opportunity at a club to try and get the time that he wants, but also it meant that it was one less problem to have to deal with at the club. Moving into later on in the summer, we had two more outs. Unfortunately, this one stung a little. Kabongo Shimanga has now gone to League One Charlton. He went for a record fee of £73,000, a record for the club that is. He's now gone to play in League One. I doubt he's going to see much first team football, not at that level. Although since he's actually moved to Charlton, he has actually jumped up to an almost a full 5-star potential and current ability, far above Colhurst, when before he was actually just below Colhurst in terms of star ratings. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on him as the season progresses. And then also Tariq Shihab. So Shihab, I decided to move on. We've been trying to train him as a right back. It wasn't really developing how I'd hoped. I wasn't going to be able to play him as a 5'9" centre back. Bringing him in was a little bit of a mistake. So we let him go to QPR for £8,000. He's going to go there, try and ply his trade at Queen's Park Rangers. And the reason for moving Shihab on was because of our final two transfers. So we have Saul Milovankovic came in on a free from Norwich. He's a 20-year-old, it says defensive midfielder, but he is going to be one of our centre-back options, although it does give us an option now to maybe play a 4-3-3 with a defensive midfielder, which would be quite a nice option, especially if we want to continue playing that Route 1 formation. He's 6 foot, 3-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. He comes in alongside Will Tizard, who is also a centre-back, 2 years his younger, with 3-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. He comes in from Southampton in the Premier League, as many of our youngsters have done this summer and last. He comes in as yet another option at centre-back, which means that even with Shihab leaving, we have Tricker, Milovankovic, Tizard, Fifield as our 4 options at centre-back. Unfortunately, it does move Fifield down to 4th option when it comes to centre-back, but I'm still going to continue keeping him at the club. So that was all the transfer dealings. There is still a possible further transfer to come in. I am looking for a left-back and another backup goalkeeper, as we currently only have 2 at the club. So with all of that in mind, if we go on to team dynamics, this has definitely taken a little bit of a different shape since we were last here. Both our team leaders, Champion and Ricketts, retired during the summer. However, Parks came back in not a couple of weeks later as an under-18s coach. Unfortunately, we haven't found a position for Ricketts yet, so he is no longer at the club, which means we currently have no team leaders. In terms of highly influential players, we have Fifield, Smith, Colhurst and Femi. Unfortunately, 2 of those 4 aren't going to be in the squad on a regular basis, so it may be Colhurst and Smith, the 2 that will possibly step up into the team leader positions. However, we then in the influential players have Thomas, McDonnell, Angel and Haddard. McDonnell, I'm taking a little bit of risk with him McDonald is our captain for this season. He does only have tenors leadership, but he is currently on doing a leadership course, and I think as he's likely to be at the club for a little while, I felt I'd rather give it to somebody who's going to have it long term rather than switching it back and passing it from person to person at the end of each season, especially if I had to give it to some of the 30 plus players like Fylde or Femi. And then obviously the other players, we also do have Ben Tricker. Ben Tricker is our vice captain. He has a 14 at leadership, so he's maybe slightly better positioned to be captain. But at 20 years old, I wanted to give it to McDonald, who's slightly older. So hopefully those guys are going to move up through the ranks. And as the season goes on, this will shift into a slightly better pyramid. But one thing I'm definitely happy about was even with the turnaround in players this summer, we still have a good team cohesion. We still have very good club atmosphere. And so we are going into the season, I think, as well prepared as we can do. And in terms of going into the season, let's go into the National League and look at the season preview. So we are 4th currently, with a odds of 5-1 to go up as champions. So it's expected that we're going to be around the playoffs, which is good because that is the board's expectation as well. We have Colhurst in the Media Dream 11, along with, I believe it was Fagan, who's also in the key players as well. So I think we are definitely going in to this season with some positivity. So with that out of the way, let's get into the first match of the season. So after saying throughout the summer that I was going to stick with the 4-4-2 formation route 1 from last season, we're actually going to go into the first game of the season at home with a different formation and a different tactical style. I hope this doesn't completely blow up in my face, but based on the conversation with my assistant manager, he felt that actually this formation would be better suited to us as it brings in more of our key players. So this is the team that's going to be facing Fylde initially today. This may change as the game goes on. But it's Huddard in goal, back four of Angol, Tricker, a debut for Tizard, and a debut for Daniel Oyugoki, Adebayi and Mundle in midfield. We have Kuyar, Robson and Thompson as the attacking three, with the goal machine. Hopefully he'll continue where he stepped off last season. Colhurst is up front. On the bench we have Fifield, Smith, Watson, Bagridge and Fagan, all of which can come on hopefully and inject something into the team if we need it. We're playing a fluid counter-attack balanced, just because I want to try us to be slightly more defensively strong this season, but I think we've got the pace in the team to be able to play it, and we should to be able to play fluid counter-attack as we showed that with our Route 1 tactics last season. We have still got the 4-4-2 Route 1 being trained, and we've also got a 4-3-3 being trained, as we now have a couple of options at defensive midfielder at the club. But this will be the formation we'll be using going into this game. The only things I haven't mentioned, you'll notice that Winter and McDonald are missing from the team altogether. Unfortunately, Winter is out for another 5 weeks to 3 months with a broken foot. And McDonald is out for another 9 days to 3 weeks with a hamstring strain, both of which were suffered during pre-season. So Ben Tricker will be taking the captaincy today for the first time. So going into this game, we are the favourites. Fylde are not a team that are expected to do much this season, and we obviously are at home. We are fourth favourites to get promoted, so hopefully we're going to start the season as such. We have a throw in here. The ball comes to Adebayi. Adebayi out wide to Daniel. I have to try my nickname for him because I can't pronounce his surname. But he does come forward into the penalty area, loses the ball out to Thomas, but Thomas gets the ball back to Daniel. Daniel Owigoki, I think it is, scores his first goal of the season. If he is going to be a goal-scoring left-back, I'm going to have to try and learn to say his name, never mind a nickname. But he comes in off the pass from Thomas, puts it into the back of the net, 3 minutes into the new season, and we are 1-0 up. And Fylde have a corner with Horton, whipped into the centre to Oates. Oates puts it over the top of the bar, and luckily it does not trouble Huddard in goal. We have a corner this time with Thomas into the centre. Conlon, though, easily heads it out of the penalty area, but only as far as Robson. Robson collects the ball back to Thomas, the original corner taker. Can't get past the first man, so we end up with the ball back, all the way back in defence and back to Huddard in goal. Hopefully just to try and keep possession, and we'll be able to build something from here now. And goal with the ball to Kuyar, to Adebayi. Adebayo doesn't have anywhere to go, but still manages to find Kuyar. Kuyar's outside the penalty area, chips it across to Robson. Robson back to Angol. Can he whip it into the centre? He can. To Thomas at the back post. Unfortunately, it's offside. Right, at half-time, ish promising first half. We've limited Fylde to one shot on target. We come in 1-0 up, which I would take for the first game of the season. I'm going to say to the guys, let's pump the fists. The gut is doing well, but we know they can do better. If we can get a good win in this first match, it definitely sets us on the road to a little bit of momentum at the start of this season. Thomas has a free kick just outside the penalty area, chips it in to the top corner, does what he does best. Thomas, from a set piece, scores with the free kick for his first goal of the season, our second of the game. And I'd say now we are, early in the second half, well on the way to our first win in our first game of the season. Right, Fylde have a throw-in our half. Tricker manages to clear it though. Adebayo now has the ball and some running room. He tries to chip it forward. There's nobody there. Unfortunately, Colhurst is just out of position. Unfortunately, is unable to better collect the ball. So Fylde now bring it forward. Tricker clears the ball again. Angol tries to find the loose ball. Does manage to stop it going out for a throw-in. Can we recycle the play again? Angol to Robson. Robson has done really well so far in this game, being able to control that attacking midfield space. QR with the ball now. To Adebayo. Can he find anybody free? Mundo in the centre. To Robson. To Thomas, who's through. On goal, hits the post. Thomas going for his second in the game. What would have been our third and surely the winning goal for this game. With 80 minutes on the clock. Let's make some substitutions. Tizard is actually struggling in his first game. So let's bring on Fifield for a little bit of stability at the back. Adebayo isn't playing very well as well. However, I'm going to take Colhurst off. Let's bring on Fagan. I want to bring on Fagan as often as I can this season because both him and Colhurst, based on pre-season anyway, have the ability to better score. And we have a highlight here on 83 minutes. Throw in into Robson. Robson manages to turn his man and find a little bit of space. Daniel on the overlap. Can he whip it into the centre? He cannot unfortunately get past the first man. He is being marked. Fylde managed to clear it. And Fylde now going to look to bring it forward with Horton. Horton's given a little bit of space. He's got a man out wide. He's got two men in front of him, but he still continues to run. He's not being pressured into the penalty area at the back post. Luckily, Daniel manages to clear it. Fagan manages to find the ball. Down to Kuyar. To Adebayo. Can we do a counter-attack of our own here? Chips it to Thomas. To Mundell. Can he put through to Fagan? Fagan does get the ball though, and he's through. Puts it past the goalkeeper for his first goal of the season. Our third of the game. And surely now this seals our first win of the season in our first game of the season, which is always a positive start. Mundell there with the ball. Thomas put it through for Fagan, and Fagan, cool as you like, for how young that man is, he has a cool head on his shoulders, puts it in for hopefully what will be the winning goal of this game. And there we have it, 3-0, a good positive win to start the season. We very much controlled that game, definitely a few more positive ratings than we were getting last season, with only Tizard getting a 6.3 in that game, which was a little bit of a disappointment. But it was his first competitive match, so I can understand that. Colhurst was also a little bit of a concern, but it's the first game of the season. There's going to be some butterflies, and Fagan came on in his stead and was able to put the seal on our win today. One thing I didn't mention at the start of the episode as well. One thing we definitely fixed during the summer was our bank balance. If you remember from the end of last season, we were in the red. We were also struggling with our wage budget as well. Now, yes, we have had a wage budget increase, but we have definitely taken a chunk out of our wage budget, and we're still and we've improved the squad as well, which is always the positive. So we've got 186, almost £187,000 in the bank. We had a number of sponsorship deals come in over the summer, which definitely helped boost that. We've still got £23,000 in the transfer budget, with the chunk of that obviously having come from Kabongo Shimanga, and then we still have £4,000 of wage budget left over. I don't plan to spend even a fraction of that, even with trying to bring in both a left back and a backup goalkeeper. So I'm going to play the Altrincham game offline, and then we'll jump into our first derby of the season at home against Sutton. Right, we have the second match of today's episode. We are at home against Sutton for our first derby of the season. In between the two matches, we only managed to draw away at Altrincham. I'll take that as a positive. Unbeaten first two games of the season is always going to be good. However, One negative, Thomas got sent off during that match for an awful scissor challenge. And if we find him half a week's wages as well, I wouldn't surprise me if his ban gets extended. I think it's only currently on one game, but I think it's likely to get extended further than that. Right, we've also had to change the midfield as well, because in between these matches, in between the Altrincham match and this one, Mundell has received blisters. So he is going to be out for 3 to 10 days while those heal. So we have had to make a couple of changes for this game. So the defence is exactly the same. We have Adebayi and Akbal in central midfield. Kuyar, Robson, Bagridge comes in for Thompson on the right hand side. Now, I was about to say with Colehurst up front, however, I'm going to start with Fagan for this match. He's come on 2 substitute appearances, has done pretty well, so I'm going to give Fagan his first start of the season. This one is definitely going to be for the fans, and that is exactly what I told the players. As much as we can start off the season positive with a win and a draw, I think a win over a rival is always going to be a massive booster if we can get a positive result in today's game. And we have a throw in here in Sutton's half. Ball thrown into the centre, but it's put out to Iqbal. Now to Robson. Out wide to Daniel. Daniel tries to whip it in, but only goes as far as Robson. Back to Daniel again. Back to Iqbal on the edge of the area. Takes a shot. Slides it straight under the keeper. Didn't look like it quite had the power to get past the keeper, but he manages with precision to slide it under the goalkeeper into the back of the net. Daniel with a deflected cross to Robson. Robson back to Daniel. Daniel brings it back to Iqbal, takes a touch, and I think it may have taken a deflection off of the defender, but goes underneath the goalkeeper to put us 1-0 up against Sutton. Sutton have a throw in their half with Smith-Brown to Barrett. Back to Goodliff. Goodliff, I presume that is. Smith-Brown forward, but Tizard manages to collect the loose ball to Kuyar. Can he bring it forward? Can he go past his man? He does. He turns his man on the edge of the penalty area, decides to go for goal. He had a couple of men in front of him, presumably that was Bagridge and Fagan, but he goes for goal himself, and it is wide of the post. And coming into half-time, as it was the first game of the season, we are 1-0 up. In terms of shots on target, it's been pretty even, but we are starting to maybe control with some of the possession we've been controlling in this match. Maybe we should be playing maybe more of a possession, maybe more possession football than we are at the moment. That maybe limit the amount of shots the opposition can get. But yet again, I'm going to say pump fists. Things are going well. I still think there's more to come from these guys, but I'm hoping it's just a gelling opportunity and they will get better as time goes on. With Thomas suspended, Kuyar takes the reins for the free kick. Unfortunately, his second shot of the game yet again goes wide of the left-hand post. We have a throw-in this time in their half. Daniel with the ball to Bagridge. Bagridge tries to put it across, but it is blocked. Now to Iqbal, to Adebayi, to Kuyar, to Fagan. Back to Adebayi. Now Kuyar. We're passing around there at the edge of the penalty area. Robson takes a shot. His shot doesn't have any venom on it until Dixon easily collects it. And he now hosts it forward. And he manages to find Bugle. Balls forward into Beautyman in the centre. And now as Beautyman, I believe he scored against us last season as well. He scores his first goal of the season to go 1-1. It has been a different story in the first 5 minutes of this second half. We have not done very well in terms of managing to control possession, and Sutton are definitely going to start coming at us. So I'm going to demand more from the players. We definitely need to push forward. I think what I might even do on the 60-minute mark, do you know what? I'm going to go with my instincts. Let's go for a controlled possession. Let's go attacking. Do we make a substitution to go along with that as well? Tizard's having another poor game. Fifield comes on. Fifield may be starting in the next match. But I'm going to leave the rest as it is. See what we can do with this new tactical style. Right, 70 minutes on the clock. We still haven't managed to do anything more in this game. And Goal's having a poor game. Unfortunately, we don't have another left back on the bench. Adebayi again is having another poor game, unfortunately. I think let's bring on Milo Hall for him. I'm going to push Robson forward. Let's take Robson off. Let's bring on Colehurst. Let's go back to 2 up front. This looks very similar compared with the start of last season. Let's go attack with Fagan on a deep line forward position as well. And let's see how we get on with new tactical style and new formation. I'm changing this so often that there's a very good chance that we're going to fall apart in these last 20 minutes. Francis Angol is now injured on a 6.3 and he's now injured and we've got no one to bring on for him. We've made all 3 substitutions as well. Right, well, QR, unfortunately, is going to have to go back there. Let's push Colehurst out wide. Fagan into the centre. Let's put Colehurst on an inside forward position in there. Fagan as an advanced forward. And now we're looking to hopefully see out this game 1-1, because I think that is the end of any opportunity we had at winning this match. Well as we started positive in that first game, the following two games, I mean, it's 2 draws, which, I mean, we haven't lost yet, but based on that XG, we should have easily won this match. Sutton weren't really in it after they scored. They kind of plateaued out. Luckily, we had a few good performances further back that I think saved us in that game. I am going to point the finger. We were not good enough in that match. As much as I could say they were unlucky, I think even with just going down to 10 men with injury, I think well before that we were struggling to try and get that second goal. And because of that, we sit just outside the playoffs with the first 3 games gone. Obviously, very much nowhere near the end of the world, but I think once I've found a tactical style and a formation that we're happy with, we can start focusing on that. I think that's probably done a little bit as well as me chopping and changing, but it's still, because I'm still not 100% sure what my I'm pretty much 100% sure what my starting 11 is, but not necessarily what the starting formation or tactical style is yet. So we've got a couple that we're training, and so we'll try a few over the next couple of games and see which one comes out on top. If you enjoyed that, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified of all new episodes coming out for this second season with Borehamwood. And thank you very much for watching.